Welcome to the Editor's Note Comics Podcast, the only podcast coming from Central Maine's best comic book store by default. My name is Zach. With me is...
Jared!
I felt you could introduce yourself.
Oh, well, thank you. I'm on mic. Everyone's been saying I need to be more on mic, so I'm right up on the mic tonight.
This episode is brought to you by Blue Apron.
What, we're sponsored now?
No.
Oh.
I think we should practice.
Oh. Like Blue Apron pancake mix. Just like Mama used to make it.
Just practice selling out now and get ready.
Also brought to you by Black Tablecloth.
We should go bigger. Like, brought to you by Cheerios.
Well,
because they need podcast sponsorship, clearly.
Oh, I mean, like, I think of, like, for us, for a comic book podcast, I don't know if Cheerios is, like, in the wheelhouse. Maybe, like, Lucky Charms. Tony Starkos.
That guy's dead, though.
The Lucky Charms guy?
The leprechaun, yeah, the voice died
a
couple weeks ago. It hasn't been dead that long.
Well, I'm sure they could find somebody. I mean, Mel Blanc's been dead forever, and they still have a voice for Bugs Bunny.
That's fair.
Thank you.
All right, what do we do here? We talk about comics, movies, TV, and that's about it.
Yes.
But a lot of times we digress into the things that are totally unrelated.
True. And you own a comic book store in Hollowell, and I'm just podcasting co-host.
That's fair. All right. As we do every week, we'll start off with the news.
Before we get started, does anyone want to get out?
It's time for the news.
And we just had our first ever
sound effect thing.
Transition.
I like it.
We're professionals
it's
now.
It's sharp. So, news me up. It's a big week. We're recording this Tuesday night. Captain America comes out Thursday. I just bought my ticket.
Yeah, you did.
There was a seat next to yours. Sorry to disappoint you.
Well, I'm going to say the big news of the week. You know what Saturday is?
2 days after Cinco de Mayo.
Technically.
It's the 7th.
Free Comic Book Day.
Oh, Free Comic Book Day.
Which means everything is free no matter what. It's basically a free-for-all.
So,
that's not what it means.
No, I was going to say, people just come into your shop and loot you.
Yeah. I wouldn't be that excited about it.
Any big specials for Free Comic Book Day at your shop in Hollowell?
Every title available will be there. I'm going to do a buy one, get one half off on all graphic novels. I'm saving money. Saving it up. Got hopefully a big event coming at the beginning of fall into summer.
Oh, really?
Hopefully. I'm working on it.
Oh.
So I want to save my money for that.
That's a good tease right there. Stay tuned.
If it goes through.
You have to tell me after we record the podcast what your grand scheme is.
Well, and I might have more news coming up soon. Through the postal system failing me and losing some mail en route, I might be getting some stuff that'll be exclusive to my store, at least within the state of Maine.
Really? Ooh.
Thank you, Post Office.
Exclusivity.
For screwing things up. Or you can find it on the internet. Don't go to the internet.
No.
My business is built on people not knowing the internet exists.
Yes, and people walking in, meeting you, playing the pinball machine.
All right, we're getting into news that isn't about me. A new Netflix series was announced this week. Coming off of Daredevil Season 2, The Punisher is getting his own show.
Yeah, I saw that. Interesting, again, use of Netflix and direct release that way. And get a full season of shows, and you can just sit and binge watch it in a day or two.
Biggest disappointment of the Daredevil Season 2. It gets to the end. He's suiting up for the first time. He's going, getting all these guns, getting hooked up with an arsenal. And the camera pans down, and it spends a solid 3 seconds just staring at this minigun. Yes! Minigun! Gonna get nothing but him just mowing people down with a minigun. No minigun.
No minigun?
No minigun at all.
No.
Just snipe some people.
You can't really punish people without a minigun, I guess.
They even have like one of those motion posters that has him shooting a minigun. I don't care what happens to those 13 episodes. Give me the promised minigun that lied to me on. It's pretty light news week. 20th Century Fox announced that they're not going to go to San Diego Comic-Con.
Really?
They claim it's due to piracy, and whatever they put up just hits the internet immediately.
So any like the special Comic-Con trailers, etc., they just don't want those getting leaked out?
Yeah, so they're just not going. Disney doesn't. They've kind of dropped out of Comic-Con. They did last year because now they have their own event, D23.
Ah, yes.
Like, we don't need to go to this. We're Disney.
They're also releasing some pictures and photos and information and stuff because mostly people want to know about Star Wars. That's all they really care about for Disney right now.
And all of the Marvel movies and Indiana Jones and every live action adaptation they're doing of their old properties.
New Through the Looking Glass is the first trailer for that dropped.
Oh, what is that?
That's the sequel to Alice in Wonderland with Johnny Depp.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Playing the Mad Hatter. Also, last night on the USA Network, there was special footage of Captain America. It was Black Panther and Winter Soldier fighting on a rooftop.
Yeah, looks like they throw down a couple of times.
Yep. Yeah, Bucky looked like he was in trouble, and the clip ended with Cap jumping across a couple of buildings to get down and help him, and the Falcon was coming in and took out a helicopter. So
Yeah.
lots of action. Seems like this movie, some of the reviews I read, looks like pretty good reviews. Looks like a lot of action. I'm sure we'll talk about that more later on in the podcast.
I'm guessing that's gonna. This is just a theory. There's an explosion. And you see Black Panther crying, and then you just see like 3 different scenes, like from trailers and clips of him attacking Winter Soldier. I'm guessing he thinks that or maybe it wasn't caused by Winter Soldier, but he's like, "Oh, my father's dead." Stop clawing at the couch.
I'm not climbing the couch. It's your cat.
Get out of here.
He's gone.
Looking suspicious.
Yeah. Well, we have a third guest on the podcast this week. The cat.
This studio is not meant for you. Overseas, Civil War has been released in a lot of countries. It's brought in less than a week 224.3 million. It hasn't hit the U.S., hasn't hit China.
No, it's going to make big numbers this weekend. With a really pretty good opening weekend date. It's kind of early May. It's not Memorial Day release, but I think it's going to do huge numbers.
Yeah, predictions domestically is around 200 million, and Batman v Superman only hit 190.
Yeah. So I think it's going to do well, and the reviews it's getting, I think, may drive some more people to the theaters. A lot of people are saying it's one of the best Marvel movies yet. Easily the strongest of the 3 Captain America movies.
Yeah, which is weird. I mean, how many trilogies can you say where they get progressively better?
Well, this is one of them.
Give me another example.
Can't think of one.
I don't have one.
Certainly not Rocky. Star Wars got better after 1, and then Return of the Jedi kind of filtered out. Matrix, certainly not. Indiana
Certainly
Jones.
not Iron Man.
Ooh.
We'll get in there.
Indiana Jones, good, not so good, better, and we're chasing aliens. But again, you defend that movie. I like that movie too. It's in the style of B serial movies.
Going over to DC news, the Flash director has left the project due to creative differences. This is a guy. It's his first movie, and like his credit is Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter.
Yeah, that movie was a bit much.
When that guy is leaving a project due to integrity, it's not a good sign.
Did you see Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter?
No.
Oh, come on.
Definitely.
It was on cable once. I saw cable on multiple times, but I saw it on cable once.
On the USA Network. This episode is brought to you by the USA Network.
That's true.
I don't know what their slogan.
I don't think they have a slogan anymore.
We should make one then. That's how we'll
and market it to them. Hey, USA Network execs, we've come up with a slogan for your network. It's American.
There's nothing more American than watching commercials.
Fair enough.
Sticking with DC news, some characters have been rumored for the Green Lantern Corps movie, which is going to mean nothing to you when I rattle off names, but I'm going to do it anyway. Looking at Hal Jordan, Jon Stewart, and maybe Kyle Rayner. No news on Guy Gardner, which I want Guy Gardner because he's just an angry man with a bowl cut and a vest.
Sounds like some people I knew in middle school.
Everyone else is supposed to be like, whenever you have a Green Lantern, it's supposed to be like the best of humanity, so the ring goes and finds like the best. And then they also get Guy Gardner, their angry ginger bowl cut West Veteran, kind of a douche.
So really not a Hal Jordan kind of guy?
No. But he's really entertaining. I like him. There's also a rumor that the Aquaman director might be leaving his project. That hasn't happened yet. It's just rumor, but we'll see.
Not really good news for Warner Brothers and DC Comics here. With one director leaving one of the projects and another probably leaving for the MetaHuman series, gotta wonder if they just feel like Batman v Superman falling flat critically is souring people from wanting to be involved in these projects. And I think it'd be interesting to see what happens with how Civil War does here, and then Doctor Strange later on this year.
Yeah, just Batman v Superman wasn't the springboard they meant it to be. On the other hand, the Batman movie, they're saying that Ben Affleck and the co-writer Jeff Johns, who's worked for DC for kind of forever, they have complete creative control over their movie, so that's a good sign.
And we saw Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
Suicide Squad could really kind of turn this whole thing around, too.
The other thing that happened earlier today, and I didn't even bother showing you this because it wasn't worth it. New Ninja Turtles trailer dropped. It was worthless.
I'll see it on Thursday when we go to see Cap.
Yeah, probably. But it was such a nothing trailer. We've seen all that footage before.
Yeah.
With very, very...
The slow motion explosion. Yeah. One of the turtles kind of parkouring over a rocket of some sort.
Well, they have, it starts off with that, what looks like that scene out of Iron Man 3 where they're doing the skydiving.
Yep.
For, I think they've, had 3 trailers and shown that 3 different times, so looking forward to that scene.
I'm sure you are.
I'm not. The other news, on one of the many red carpets for Civil War, it was brought up if Robert Downey Jr. would do an Iron Man 4, and this hit the internet. People went crazy about it. All he said was, I feel like I could do one more.
Well, he's in for 2 Avengers movies. And, this would be a 3rd one.
And Spider-Man.
And Spider-Man, so... Has no one really...
I feel like I could do one more. It's like, Robert Downey Jr. teases Iron Man 4. No, he didn't. It's like, yeah, maybe. If they pay me another couple $100 million.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's in at least 3 more Marvel movies. What's a 4th? He's been in 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That would be 10 Marvel movies he'd been in, at least, plus cutscenes and end credit scenes.
I can't remember the number that he makes, but he makes like a couple $100 million per movie now.
But let's not forget how Iron Man, the first Iron Man movie, resurrected his career. This was a man who was he was overcoming addiction. He was a Hollywood liability, and now he is one of the biggest stars in Hollywood, and he's done it through this movie.
He's the biggest. No one gets paid more than him right now. And I'm going to use this time to segue. I'm going to play a clip.
Now might be a really good time for you to get angry.
That's my secret. I'm always angry.
It's time for an Editor's Note podcast review.
I played it. You know what the bad part about this is?
What?
More editing.
Oh, well.
I should just play it through my phone and stick it up to the microphone.
No, just edit it into the... You're doing the right thing by editing the sound clip into the show and not, half-assing it and holding up a speaker to the microphone.
Do you see the notes that we're working off of? I shorthanded a bunch of stuff.
Whatever, I'm just following your lead, boss.
That you can't read.
Yes, most of the time. I have a hard time reading your writing.
It's all shorthand for me, even this is bad. I'm questioning what it says.
Well, it says something about Iron Man.
I know. First off, we're going to get into a review. We're going to do all 3 Iron Man movies to prep for Civil War.
Cannot wait.
And you know what's weird about these 3 movies?
They get progressively worse.
No. It's not really a trilogy.
No, there's no real story arc. They just kind of intersperse.
And without the Avengers movies, this doesn't work. You can't be like, I'm going to sit down and watch that Iron Man trilogy. Look, some things happened in between these movies.
Yes, the things that you need to be aware of. So, first Iron Man, I loved it.
Yeah, this comes out 2008. This is coming out of the mid-2000s, which was kind of a cesspool for movies.
What, you didn't like the Spider-Man trilogy by Sam Raimi?
But even by the end of that, when Spider-Man 3 came out, the faith was gone there. X-Men had X-Men The Last Stand. That series had gone off the rails. You have things like Daredevil, the Hulk, Electric, Catwoman.
Green Lantern.
No, that was 2011.
No.
2008 was a good year when we get Iron Man, Dark Knight, Incredible Hulk. But I mean, when Iron Man came out, it was... Oh, Superman Returns. That was another one.
Yes.
But it was this point of people going is the comic book movie dead? There's nothing that exciting anymore. And I remember trying to talk people into go see this movie. No, comic book movies are terrible. I'm not going to see this.
Wrong.
And then we went in.
I think the way that Robert Downey Jr. played Tony Stark, it was a more believable kind of person. We finally saw a flawed person becoming a superhero.
Yeah, we saw basically Robert Downey Jr. on the screen.
Pretty much.
I mean, Iron Man in the books, and you read the Civil War book, he's a lot more of a somber character. He's a lot more serious in the books. He's not that... Now he is. Now he's all jokey. But before the movie came out, he was a pretty dull, serious character. I mean, if you were reading an Iron Man book, you were just in it to see the suits and what different things they were going to do with it.
Yeah. He wasn't, the flamboyant billionaire philanthropist, genius playboy, as he says in Avengers.
Yeah. No, he was just kind of a boring, recovering alcoholic. But it was really when in the books when they do the whole alcoholism story, it probably shouldn't be my favorite part, but it is. He does some drunk driving in the Iron Man suit.
Well, it's a lot like Iron Man 2 where he ends up in the donut.
No, he gets drunk and just flies around. He's just woo, doing somersaults through the air.
Wow, is that the noise that he made while in the Iron Man suit?
He did. It's weird how comics are that audio medium.
I know, right? I've learned that. As I was reading, I could hear the sound effects.
The movie opens up, we get AC/DC. Yes, and I'm just in.
You get AC/DC. I love the exposition and how it's done, through the awards ceremony, so we get, an idea of who Tony Stark is early.
But before that, we get a MySpace reference that really dates this movie.
Yes.
How long ago did this movie come out?
Well, if it came out in 2008, it'd be about 8 years ago.
I know, but still, it's like, wow, MySpace.
Unless you're like a struggling musical artist or band.
Is that what they do now?
Yeah, a lot of them have MySpaces still. Check out my band on MySpace, although most of them has Facebook.
I thought they all were on SoundCloud.
They could be on SoundCloud too, but I mean, MySpace was a great place for
This episode is brought to you by SoundCloud.
But we're not on SoundCloud anymore.
No, they charged me. They wanted to charge way too much money.
So I don't think we should say this episode is brought to you by SoundCloud, whose business we no longer employ.
I guess technically this episode's brought to you by Squarespace, but not because they're paying me, because I'm paying them.
Fair enough. So, Robert Downey Jr. is Iron Man. I like it. Jeff Bridges was fantastic.
Did you just read my notes where I said Jeff Bridges is dull and randomly evil?
I don't think it was dull.
For Jeff Bridges, because I love Jeff Bridges, but that movie he doesn't.
Yeah,
really
but you can't compare him. You can't compare him in that to Jeff Bridges in The Big Lebowski. You can't. Two totally different characters.
But he's not charismatic in this. And
he's not supposed to be charismatic.
He's charismatic in everything.
But I thought he filled the role well.
He rides around on a Segway with an unlit cigar in his mouth.
It was lit.
It was not lit. There was no smoke coming out of that.
No, I thought he played the evil business, kingpin pretty well.
He just turns evil out of nowhere. I mean, there's really no villain in this movie.
Yeah, Obadiah Stane is the villain.
Out of nowhere. It's like existentialism is the enemy here.
Well, no.
Inside yourself.
No, because if you remember the movie, he was the one selling the weapons. He was selling the Jericho missiles to the Middle Eastern insurgents. He'd been doing it the whole time.
It just comes out of nowhere.
He put a price on Tony's head. He paid for Tony to be assassinated.
Yes, with that handy video that has a translate button.
Listen, suspension of disbelief, man.
No, I love this movie. I mean, which is too bad because I do like Jeff Bridges, but this movie is fantastic.
I mean, there's some things that, again, suspension of disbelief. How the doctor wires a car battery to a magnet and inserts it into Tony's chest, and he doesn't get like a horrific chest infection.
And these effects hold up amazing. I think it's a really minor effect, but it's probably my favorite when Pepper is changing out the arc reactor in his hand,
yes.
in his chest. You can't see the seams on that. It looks perfect.
That was really well done. Well directed by, hold on, the name will come to me, and we can edit it in there.
You'll get there.
He was also in The Replacements.
We should take a pause, and then you say the name and sound like we're like, Jon Favreau.
Oh, Jon Favreau directing this. Thank you.
Of Swingers.
Yes.
And Zathura?
He was also in Couples Retreat. What else was he in? Oh, he was in Deep Impact. He's one of the astronauts who dies in Deep Impact.
I was an Armageddon man myself.
They're the same movie, essentially. They're like almost exactly the same movie. But that's a different discussion for different. We should do a disaster movie podcast.
We could.
Anyway.
I don't know if I have a lot to say. They're all dumb.
Fair enough.
It's clearly not. It's like you can't call it grounded in reality because he's flying around in suits. But I
don't think you can call any of these movies grounded in reality.
No, never. But it all feels kind of natural.
No, I liked it. It's believable. At the same time, it's like, but where he has the manipulative.
Without Robert Downey Jr., this movie doesn't work.
Oh God, no. He's what makes this thing sing. Absolutely. And it gets everything going. I love that end scene where you have it. It was the first time we saw an end credit scene, and it made you want more. You've got Nick Fury in his house and wants to talk to him about the Avengers Initiative. Boom, we know where we're going.
Which at the time there was a book out called Avengers Initiative. That's all I really have to say there. History.
Nice.
Contextual clues.
No, I thought it's a solid origin story. I still disagree that you think there's not a villain. I mean, Obadiah Stane is the villain of the movie. He's the bad guy.
I don't know. The Marvel Universe would also be probably better off if he had just died.
Who?
Tony.
Really?
He creates all of his own villains. He's the reason that Loki was able to use the space gem to open up the portal that had New York get attacked. He made Ultron, and now he's going to go punch Captain America in the face of it. He probably should have died.
He did make Vision.
No, partially.
Okay,
you would need that some credit to Ultron wasn't around.
Some credit to Ultron, some credit to Thor, some credit to Tony.
Yeah, they'd probably all be better off if he was just dead. But it's too late now because he's charming.
Well, he's charming and he's a central character.
I mean, he's become the villain by the time the last Avengers movie rolls around. He is the villain.
You think so?
Yeah, totally. The guy who's just so entrenched in the problem trying to fix it, yeah, he is the problem.
So you think in the second Infinity Wars movie he's going to be...
Any good villain that they don't think they're the villain. Tony's definitely the villain in Ultron.
Yeah, I can see a little bit. I mean, Ultron's like the overt villain, but Tony made a mistake. I think his intentions were good. His
Because he hasn't
execution...
learned from the last 4 villains of his that he's end up being the reason that they came into existence.
Well, I mean, couldn't you argue that some of these other villains are creations of the hero? They need their foil.
Yeah, but I just think,
I mean, think about in Batman Return, in the first Batman movie with Michael Keaton, he kind of creates the Joker by dropping Jack Napier into the chemical at Ace Chemicals.
You know what? I'm going to give Batman v Superman some credit. This is the first Batman movie that's not about the villain.
Wow. Mark the date and time, kids. Zach gave credit to Batman v Superman.
Sure,
and this is another consecutive episode where Batman v Superman has been brought up.
And this movie set a tone. Going off of nothing, and it created everything.
I like it. Iron Man 2 kind of continues to push the storyline, though, for the Avengers.
Iron Man 2 is a friggin' mess.
Yeah, it's tough to follow up a good movie like Iron Man, and I think this one fell short of the mark. It still is entertaining. It gives us some more breadth of Tony's character. There were a lot of things in this movie I like.
Did you see Chef?
No.
So let's look at Jon Favreau's career. So Iron Man comes out, everybody loves it, just loses their minds. Favreau comes back to make Iron Man 2, everyone's like, what the hell is this? This is subpar, this is just a trailer for another movie. He ends up, at the time he was being fast-tracked to direct the Avengers. That doesn't happen, and he goes and makes Cowboys and Aliens. Terrible movie.
I didn't see that one with Daniel Craig and Harrison Ford.
Yeah, somehow they thought taking the 2 most bored people in Hollywood and putting them in a movie together would be a good idea.
2 certified badasses, normally.
The 2 guys who care the least in all of Hollywood.
Fair enough.
So everyone hates that movie. So Chef, written and directed by Favreau, he also stars in it, working as a chef. And a critic gives him a bad review, and he just loses his mind on this critic. He's like, I just gave you more of what you wanted before. What's your problem? Why is that wrong? Screw this restaurant. I'm leaving, and I'm going to go make tiny food that feels more personal and people will care about.
I think it was pretty straightforward.
This is the most on-the-nose, self-referential monologue I've ever seen. Are we talking about food here?
Or are we talking about Iron Man 2?
Yeah, my God, it was... I liked Chef a lot, but that one scene, tone it back, we get it.
But I think it showed Tony's struggles. It showed Tony, kind of facing mortality. I liked the scenes with the Capitol Hill hearing. I like that there was more Nick Fury. There was more S.H.I.E.L.D. in this. I thought there were some cool things in it when he uses Cap shield to balance out the particle accelerator he uses. I love the whole scene where he discovers the new element.
Even that's so dumb. It's all just... So his father built a map for an atom on a display that he knew would eventually solve this heart condition that his kid was going to have.
It's not the heart condition. It was to help with the arc reactor.
To create a new element that just happened to be the one element that could fix his blood being poisoned.
Yeah, but again,
it's not.
You have to have some suspension of disbelief.
No, that's too far.
Just because there's a Deus Ex Machina in the movie doesn't mean you have to hate it.
I don't hate it. This is always a bad sign whenever I see a movie. It shows him jumping out of a plane. They showed an alternate take for that scene in the trailer.
Yeah, where he has his helmet off, and I'm going to be, working late, jumps out of the plane, puts his helmet on.
But right off the bat, when I know that there's all these last-minute decisions being made, where they're going that doesn't quite work. We should probably do this other thing.
Yeah.
So when they're maybe going with their second or third choice right off the bat, that's not a good sign.
Or maybe it's not their second or third choice. Maybe it's what fit better. But I know what you're saying.
I don't know why I'm shaking my head silently. That's not good audio.
That's very shameful looking.
As I just sneer and shake my head. Ugh.
But no, I liked it. I liked Iron Man 2. I didn't like it as much as Iron Man 1, but if you made me choose, I would be happy with seeing either one, to be honest.
I hate Mickey Rourke in that movie. And I don't mind Mickey Rourke, but he's really bad in that movie, and he did that stupid method acting thing. He went to a Russian prison for a month and dumb crap like that. You were...
All those tattoos.
Yeah, every tattoo has a story and all this. And when they have him fighting Tony on the raceway. He was like blasting all this music, so he's doing it in time with just all these ridiculous actor things.
Yeah.
And so much of this movie was released online ahead of time, like that whole fight they have at the Speedway. I saw every second of that. They released way too many clips ahead of time, so going in, like, I've seen so much of this movie. And then, I'm blanking on his name. Oh, Sam Rockwell, the guy who plays Justin Hammer. I'm watching him and going, I really like this guy, but I really don't like him in this role. Like, I could tell he was a good actor, but it was just not quite right.
I get it. I mean, he's like the Bud Light of Tony Stark's. Justin Hammer's trying to be.
And then the end, I didn't care about the ending. Whenever you have a movie, it takes all the stakes away. If you have a movie that ends with people are fighting something that's totally faceless and nameless, like a bunch of robots, I know that you're not going to have a major character just randomly killed by a stray bullet from unnamed robot number 42 over there. Whenever it's something like that, I'm like, okay, so the stakes are literally nothing.
I feel like Iron Man 2 is more of a driving force. We learn more about Tony. We get...
Spend half the movie setting up the Avengers.
We get War Machine. Is it War Machine?
Yeah.
War Machine. We get War Machine. We get more progress for the Avengers. We meet Black Widow. More of Agent Coulson. So it gives us some more. It kind of pushes things forward a little bit toward the Avengers movie.
But too much towards it. That was all it was. It was just diving towards it. At that point, the universe wasn't really set, and there's, especially in those first couple, some inconsistencies. So, the first Iron Man comes out, Hulk hits 3 months later, and God, I love this about the Hulk movie, not a post-credit scene, just something at the end of the movie. You didn't have to sit through 10 minutes of it, it was just up front. They have him there, they're like, we're building a team.
Yeah.
And then it's contradicted in the next Iron Man, so the order of things is completely off, and then they ended up having
is it contradicted? Do you think it's contradicted in that Tony wasn't going to be part of making the team anymore?
I don't think he was ever on board for it. You can't watch these, not that first round of movies in the order that they came out, because they have the end of the Hulk has to happen after Iron Man 2, but the Hulk was also happening at the same time, because at the end of Iron Man 2 they show footage from the Hulk movie, and it's also happening at the exact same time as Thor, because Coulson left and literally drove to the Thor movie.
Yes, during
and it was such a
Iron
mess
Man 2.
that they had to make a short film explaining to make it line up with the Avengers that Tony wasn't even there to recruit the Hulk. He was there to recruit the Abomination. It's a mess.
But I mean, I do like the end credit scene from Iron Man 2 where we see Mjolnir in the crater.
Yeah, that was a nice little tease. That's all fine.
Yeah.
Unless you're just like, what the hell is that hammer?
Well, most people would know that's not Horse Hammer. Thor's hammer, forged in the heart of a dying star by elves.
These movies, earlier on, were a lot more forgiving if you didn't know your stuff. Now they just like throw it all at you. Like, keep up. We're like 12 movies deep. Do some research. Look it up on Wikipedia.
Yeah, again, it's tough to jump into the midpoint of all this.
One of the things I do like that they do in this movie, do you know what hanging a lantern is?
That's what the guy did for Paul Revere?
Yes, that's exactly it. That's very applicable to this movie.
No,
hanging a lantern is if there's an inconsistency in a movie and they just say it.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. In this one, I like it does for me. They usually work for me when they're like, shut up, it doesn't matter. But when Don Cheadle comes in, and he's like, hey, wasn't expecting you. He's like, I'm here, it's me, deal with it. And to me, the show is, shut up, audience, it's fine.
That does make sense. I like it.
Those are the times, like, sometimes if it's just an inconsistency that doesn't work, like, just because you addressed it doesn't make it okay. But in movies where they call it out, it's like, it doesn't matter.
I like him as Rhodey, though.
Yeah, he's good. I like him in everything, generally.
So we go to Iron Man 3.
We didn't rate Iron Man 1. Say Iron Man 1, see it in theaters.
See it in theaters.
Iron Man 2.
See it in theaters.
Boo, Redbox that.
Whatever. You're a loser.
Because I don't like Iron Man 2 that much.
Whatever.
Not compared to Iron Man 3, which I do like.
I don't.
Come out and saying it. So this movie was directed by the same guy who did Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. It was the movie that kind of got Robert Downey Jr.'s career back on the right path.
Yes.
It's a Christmas movie.
Mm-hmm.
Just like Iron Man 3.
I don't know.
This one didn't have Fat Val Kilmer, though.
No, but I don't like... He gets lost. The kid helps him. He's Tony Stark. He built the suit in a as Obadiah Stane said in the first movie, Tony Stark built this in a cave. Yeah, but now he needs to go and have borrow this kid's bicycle. Like, Iron Man's gone missing. You'd think people would know where to look for Iron Man.
That kid just told him to go buy some stuff, and that kid made him a sandwich after he got called a pussy.
Well, Ben Kingsley falls short in this.
Oh, I like it a lot. I know a lot of people really hate that. They're like, the Mandarin is Iron Man's main villain. I'm like, yeah? Tell me a good Mandarin story. You know how many I can list off the top of my head?
None.
You know who says that the Mandarin is Iron Man's main nemesis? Wikipedia. A bunch of people read Wikipedia and thought they knew what they were talking about.
I mean, it's a big swerve where he's an actor and he's paid to cut these promos and.
I mean, what? China's the biggest market in the world, and they were going to try and market the Mandarin as their villain?
Well,
that's not going to work.
Captain America is a movie although they call it the first Avenger, but still.
The Mandarin was set up as kind of like, hey, you know who we're not getting along with too well right now?
The Chinese.
Yeah, but you can't do that now.
No, not really.
You can't throw the little Fu Manchu mustache at people and be like, look at that evil stereotype. We better kill it.
Yes.
I was fine with the twist. I didn't see it coming. The trailers set him up as...
Oh, as being evil. And...
Yeah, it's like this kind of like... I'm like, okay, they've updated it to a point where it kind of works. The name Mandarin's still a little weird, but whatever.
It was said in the first couple movies, he has to have the arc reactor in his chest because if not, the shrapnel is going to get to his heart, and there's no way they were going to stop it from getting there. But yet he's able to undergo a surgery and get it removed.
Yeah, the Chinese fixed it. We didn't see it in America, but there's an extended version of Iron Man 3 where there's only a couple of scenes where he just goes to China and he's like, China's amazing! Isn't China great? And then because you can see in that scene that it's a bunch of Chinese doctors taking it out of his chest.
Huh.
That's the only part of that we really see of just Robert Downey Jr. walking around China being like, China really is the greatest market.
But I don't know. It kind of takes away from the character a little bit for me that he doesn't have the piece in his chest anymore. It kind of added to it for me.
What do you think's in there now? Because you can't just fill that in. There's just a gaping hole in his chest that's full of pus.
That cylinder is in there. I don't know. It just... And again, I'm not as familiar with the comics. Does it in the comics? Doesn't he still have it in his chest?
He never had it in his chest. He didn't get it in his chest until after the books. It used to be kind of like an iron lung. Like the Iron Man suit itself was the thing they did, or he might have to wear a giant plate. It was like wearing a giant metal shirt that did it. I mean, they moved it over in the books after the Iron Man movies, but no, for a long time that had nothing to do with it. That was a total creation of the movies.
But it just, I don't know.
Don't correct me if I'm wrong.
Makes him feel more like a Batman-like character where there's nothing special about him aside from his intangible skills. But what's Batman's superpower aside from upper level intelligence, great problem and detective solving skills, and he has a shit ton of money?
That he put all of the time into the world to be the greatest person alive. All of his free time is spent studying or training his body.
Yeah, but again, how does that make him? And I'm not arguing that he isn't a superhero, but superheroes a power. Superman can fly. Spider-Man has the spider sense. He can jump, and he's super strong. Was able to build the web slingers. Thor has his hammer. He's a demigod. Captain America. I guess you could say the same thing almost about Captain America. He's a steroid guy.
Yep. That's right, kids. If you want to be an American hero, drugs. Shoot it up.
A serum and then a lot of radiation. So just concoct the serum and then go tan.
Iron Man 3, they have that scene where Air Force One blows up and everyone's falling and he's grabbing all of them.
Yep.
That's all practical. They shot that all in air. Everyone's wearing, they had to take out, parachutes digitally, but that's 100% practical.
That's really cool.
That's insane. That's amazing. I love that sequence. That's really great. And I like seeing him. I know some people complain about it, but I like seeing him out of the suit. I like seeing him have to problem solve without the suit on. Then you can see, oh no, he has intelligence and prowess outside of that he's not always has this crutch. I do think that they blow the suit. The suit falls apart too many times. That's what I was pitching about with, Thor getting knocked out a bunch of times as a human.
Because Tony's never really had a problem with the suit up until now, and
he's under 40 totally functional models. I'm going to use the one that doesn't work. And
he's got the suit where he has in the suitcase, in Iron Man 2, where all of the suit is hidden in a suitcase that can be lifted by
That's
Happy.
An old reference. because that's where he used to keep his suit. There wasn't a suitcase that turned into a suit, but he used to just carry his suit around in a suitcase, and that's where it was.
Wow. That's a lot of metal to just kind of be... Happy's got to be jacked. He's like the most jacked wheelman in comics. All right, so Iron Man 3. Red box it, see it in the theaters?
No, I like that movie a lot.
I'd red box it. Actually, that's what I did. I actually did red box it. I didn't see it in the theaters.
I did.
But it's also a flashback at the end in the end credit scene.
But you don't know that when you're watching it.
Well, yeah, but afterwards, kind of like...
And I like that end credit. People bitched about that. Like, it doesn't set up the next movie. I'm like, yeah, it was a joke. It was fine. It was funny. I enjoyed it.
I'm not that kind of doctor.
Yeah, I thought that was funny. No, I'm all about Iron Man 3. See it in theaters.
All right. Well, we agreed on...
And see it again in theaters.
We agreed on one of the two movies. One of the three. We agreed on.
Yeah, I mean, the first Iron Man is definitely the best. But I really like 3. It gets a bad rap.
Yeah. I'm really interested to see the next progression of the character on Thursday.
Oh, that's the other thing I really like about it. That you get to see kind of where he's come from and where he's gone to. That you get to see the old kind of douchey, alcoholic playboy version, and you get to see the other side. Because Iron Man 2 just kind of straddles that line of...
Maybe I need to watch it again and kind of reassess my feelings on it. But
And then the end is awesome. With all the suits just... I mean, they treat them like paper mache, but we haven't seen stuff like that before. That was good.
Different.
That kind of wraps it up for the Iron Man trilogy. We didn't really cover them in the Avengers. That's fine. But that will end our reviews for the week, and that will bring us into our first ever Jared's Reading Corner.
Oh, boy.
I wish we had a sound clip for this. Just the lightest...
The reading rainbow.
Essentially, just something like light and fluffy and stupid. It's like, we don't have a
segue for that
yet. Because we haven't done this before, so that's not fair.
No. And it took me 2 weeks to actually get around to reading it.
Yeah, it's only 7 issues. So, what'd you read?
I read Civil War. So I read the 7-issue Civil War arc.
When Civil War came out, it also spread out into pretty much every other Marvel book that was out at the time. You couldn't get away from Civil War if you tried. Sitting down and rereading Civil War just as 7 issues, it feels kind of light now, because I remember when it was everywhere and it was everything, and I don't remember everything that happened, but still, like, I'm like, oh yeah, this happened and those are all kind of missing out of that main story.
Yeah, I mean, there were some things that were hard for me to keep up with. The general arc, there were things that made sense that I could kind of get. I went into it reading it, trying to like disassociate myself from the Marvel movie kind of characters, knowing that these are different characters with different story backgrounds.
Oh yeah, totally.
And some of the Marvel movies.
Movie's probably not going to start the same way as the book.
No,
that'd be a dark way to start.
It would be a very dark way with the bus blowing up, and with the other people trying to be heroes. I think that this is darker than I think we're going to see in the Civil War movie.
Yeah, for those who haven't seen it, the book starts off with the New Warriors. At that point, I mean, they've been around since like the 80s. They're not really that new anymore. But they have a reality TV show, and they go and try and fight these supervillains, think that they're going to get in. And one of them, the supervillains, Nitro, his whole thing is just blowing up and reassembling himself. So he explodes, but he kills a school bus full of children. For a family-friendly movie.
Dark.
Let's start off by killing a bunch of kids.
What I gather from like the trailer is that people are going to be upset with the superheroes and their lack of regulation, where all these fights that have happened, with the town that got elevated by Ultron. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head.
Made up Sokovia.
Sokovia. Saved the Sokovian incident. And we saw in one of the trailers a big binder Sokovia incident.
Yep. What was the story of the book? Lay it out.
So basically...
And if you have questions, I'll fill in the blanks.
All right. So I'm supposed to... So my job is to summarize?
Yeah, let's throw it out there.
Okay.
See what made sense to you, what didn't, what we can fill in for people who might not know.
There's the bus incident, and that takes place in Stamford, Connecticut. Tony Stark goes to the funeral of one of the young kids that were killed in this, and the mother is so mad and angry and spits at Tony. Tony gets this, is kind of approached, and the feeling is that the superheroes need to be identified. We need to know who the superheroes are. So kind of eliminate on amateur hour and have them have training, because it seems that they just, while their intentions are good, the methodology of them trying to solve the problem doesn't always necessarily help everybody. Am I off target here?
No, that's all pretty much what was going on. But so S.H.I.E.L.D., they think that my favorite part. They think that Captain America is just like the obvious, yeah, he'll be on board for this.
Yeah, and he's not. And
That's my favorite part of that book. That showdown that he has in Maria Hill's office.
oh yeah, and
Diving out the window.
dives out the window, and people are shooting at him. And Cap goes underground. So Captain America goes rogue, because he stands up for what he believes is right. So he kind of, has to break the law to help uphold the law, kind of almost like a Robin Hood type of character in this story arc. Meanwhile, Tony's trying to assemble enough people to side with him. Obviously, there's going to be there's a big line drawn in the sand. People are gravitating toward Captain America or Iron Man. I think we're going to see some of that in this movie, but I don't think we're going to see the plethora of characters. There were a lot of people in there. I didn't even know who the hell they were.
My favorite one is he's a pretty minor character on the Marvel side, I think, but Nighthawk keeps showing up.
Yeah.
I feel like he keeps just showing up in that book, and he keeps on trying to throw his opinion out there. And no matter where he is, everyone just is like, "Shut up, Nighthawk.
Oh, one of my favorite.
No one cares about you."
One of my favorite parts of the book is they're having a social. Either I think it was at the Baxter Building or at Tony Stark's building, and they're all in their superhero costume having cocktail hour and discussing this issue. Doctor Strange is there.
Spider-Man's in the Iron Spider outfit.
Yes, that's one of my things. Like Spider-Man has 3 friggin' outfits in this book.
Yeah, boy, and I could talk about the end one for a bit, but the first one, he's already in the Iron Spider outfit. Tony made an outfit for Spider-Man, which he's also built some fail-safes into, in case Spider-Man turns on him. Was that in Civil War, or was that in the Spider-Man spin-off books, where you see that?
May have been the Spider-Man spin-off books.
Okay.
I do know that Spider-Man gets his ass kicked in this book.
Yeah, a lot.
A couple of times. The people that are with Tony, a couple other, Reed Richards is with them, Mr. Fantastic.
And Hank Pym, so
Hank
Tony
Pym
just gathers the biggest dicks that he can find to be on his side for some reason.
Things start to go sour, too, when the Human Torch gets a bottle cracked over his head outside a nightclub.
Yeah, they're like, "You blew up those kids." Like, I did not. Then they just
break a bottle over his head, and then the Invisible Woman helps get him out of there.
And you can't see those characters in this movie because those are all Fox characters.
Way, 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 way different in some aspects.
Well, Spider-Man is kind of the linchpin of this whole story.
Yeah, which I'm getting to.
Right.
I'm progressing. All right. Tony has several plans, which I really like. There's an end sequence about this that I really like about Tony and some of the things. So Tony holds a press conference with Spider-Man, and this is also another one of my favorite scenes. And Spider-Man, Peter Parker, unmasks himself and says, "I am Peter Parker, and I've been Spider-Man since whatever."
I was 15 years old.
And J. Jonah Jameson faints at his desk. I thought that was hilarious.
That was a good moment.
Absolutely hilarious.
Yeah, and that was one of those scenes. The Spider-Man book at the time was really building up towards that. You saw a lot of that. Did that feel rushed to you when you were reading the book?
It just kind of boom happened. Yeah.
Because reading Spider-Man books at the time.
Because I didn't know that there was how much of a connection between Tony and Spider-Man there was. I'll be interested to see how the movie explores that. I get the feeling that the movie is going to be very different than the book.
Yeah, because I don't think Spider-Man's identity is going to be revealed.
No, especially if they're going to have Spider-Man Homecoming. I don't think there'll be some of that.
This movie, it can't be about secret identities. That's really... so the book Civil War is really about 2 things. 1, superheroes revealing their identities, and 2, creating what's referred to as the 50-state initiative, meaning that all the superheroes have to register, and then the government will split them up into different teams that will be able to monitor all 50 states, along with having Avengers training facilities.
Which, on the outside doesn't seem like it's a terrible, terrible thing. But anyway, so Spidey reveals himself. And again, you've seen The Incredibles, right?
Yep.
I kept kind of going back to that because...
which is basically Iron Man 3.
Do you think The Incredibles is like Iron Man 3?
Yeah.
I think that Civil War, the book, is kind of like The Incredibles. And hear me out on this. So, we never see Nick Fury, but Nick Fury is able to conjure up new identities for the Avengers, the people who are underground. Like I said, were the new Avengers?
They ended up being called the Secret Avengers.
The Secret Avengers. That felt like in The Incredibles, all the supers got secret identities and they moved along. But you got some of them that still want to fight crime, and they're like listening to the scanner. And when the Mr. Freeze or whatever Samuel L. Jackson's character is in that, and Mr. Incredible go in, break into the jewelry store and they help people out of a fire. It kind of felt that way. Like you got Captain America is like, getting intelligence. So there's a chemical plant fire, which was set as a trap. And this is our first big fight of the series.
Yeah.
In the chemical fire. Tony has programmed into the Iron Man suit any punch he's ever taken from...
Well, that's one of those things that's different in the books. You see that the draw of reading an Iron Man book was never about Iron Man. It was all about the suits.
Yeah.
And, I mean, he didn't really do that much work. He was just like, all right, the suit has this. I'm just kind of here.
Yeah. So I like, so he pretty much beats the shit out of Captain America.
Yeah.
And is about to, apprehend him. And then, out of nowhere, Thor, who I thought was Thor, was like, shit, it's Thor.
Thor's, at this point in the books, Thor's dead.
Yeah, I didn't realize that until a few pages later when...
They're like, Thor's dead!
I was like, oh, well, shit. Then who's this guy? So pretty much this, wannabe Thor, who I found out is a clone of Thor, a cyborg clone of Thor, kills some dude named Goliath with a giant lightning bolt right through the chest. And that kind of brings the fight to a screeching halt. Everyone's like, oh, wow, this really got out of hand. Real fast.
They're like kids in a street who are roughhousing, and then like one of them gets like really hurt, like, oh no.
Yeah.
We need to go home now.
Yeah. It's like the fight during Anchorman.
Yeah.
So
Goliath is dead.
This dude named Goliath is dead. Big dude, they have to get excavators in. Tony Stark pays for his burial plots, but it's also revealed that
because he's like 40 feet tall.
Yeah. Easily taken out by Thor, or wannabe Thor, Ragnarok. Ragnarok. Isn't that the name of the new Thor movie?
Yep.
Anyway, so Ragnarok.
Maybe there'll be a robot clone of Thor in that movie.
Ragnarok gets pretty much like a lobotomy, and Reed Richards operates for like 32 straight hours on his head to reprogram him so he's not going to kill anybody. But it's also revealed during that time that Tony Stark and Reed Richards and the company and friends are working on a prison.
Prison 42?
Prison 42.
Is that it? Maybe.
I think it was 42. There's a disc. Oh, and all of this, by the way, Mr. Fantastic and the Invisible Woman having some marital problems.
They've been having marital problems since the 60s.
But she goes underground with the Human Torch.
Yep. Yeah. After Goliath is killed, she switches sides.
That really shakes a lot of people up, and it got really real when they died. Some of the superheroes, I think Tony's callous, like, our friend is dead, and you don't care. And he's like, well, no, he was my friend too. But obviously very remorseful, especially where there's a sense of responsibility where he was part of the cloning of Thor, because Tony had held onto a hair of Thor's
the first Avengers
from like the first Avengers meeting. So, all that's going on, and so Mr. Fantastic is fixing Ragnarok. Tony is overseeing the construction of Prison 42, which happens to be a portal into
the negative zone.
The negative zone. They capture some of the secret Avengers, like Daredevil.
Which, funny, at the time, that wasn't even Daredevil. That was Iron Man. I'm sorry, not Iron Man. Iron Fist posing as Daredevil because Matt Murdock was in jail because he was accused of being Daredevil. Everyone keep up with that? Does that all make sense?
So,
No.
Meanwhile, they're also like kind of almost like a Suicide Squad thing. They have some villains that are going out and...
The Thunderbolts.
And some of the Thunderbolts end up actually... We'll get to that. They end up being in Colorado at the end. So the Thunderbolts are kind of helping bring people...
Capture all of the non-registered heroes and bringing them into jail.
Yes. So...
And then Spider-Man's like...
Peter Parker's had enough of this, and he realizes that he feels that he's made a mistake, so he escapes, only to get beat the hell up by... was it Green Goblin or Hobgoblin?
I don't remember. I know Jack-O-Lantern was there.
Jack-O-Lantern was there.
Because he's like a D-list Spider-Man villain. But it was cool to see him.
But they just rock Spider-Man's world. There's a neurotoxin, bombs, and they're about to, mess with him, and then all of a sudden...
Just...
The friggin' Punisher shows up. So the Punisher shows up and brings him to Captain America's secret headquarters.
Like, we need to leave. The psychopath knows where we are now.
Yes. Which apparently nobody enjoys the Punisher being there because...
No, because he just murders people. Everyone's like, they'll beat up some villains, throw them in jail, and then they'll go on with their day. Punisher's like, yeah, no, they need to die. Which is one of the funny things about the Punisher TV series. Like, who can you have as a Punisher villain, because he doesn't really have. There's very few. He doesn't really have a good roster of villains because he just kills them all.
So, and I'm glossing over this. Like, if you're listening and you haven't read Civil War, I recommend it. I'm just glossing over some of the things. There's more intricate things that happen.
Like, they're like, shut up, Nighthawk. I have opinions. No, you don't.
Well, that was at the cocktail hour. And
like 5 times.
Oh, and then we're kind of like, as this is all happening, there's like 5 or 6 panels throughout the whole thing of just Doctor Strange levitating and meditating.
In the Arctic.
In the Arctic with levitating candles. The Seer is there.
The Watcher.
The Watcher, whatever.
Uatu, the Watcher. He cannot interfere.
No, and Doctor is like, Doctor Strange, you could just, take care of. He's like, I am too powerful. Bring me the Crimson Bands of the Sidorak.
He's just like, God, I could really wrap this story up. Not gonna, but I could.
Yeah. So it's just like, what is he even doing? I thought he was supposed to protect Earth, and here he is letting, these superheroes just torch America. We get to the point where there's a spy, apparently, for both sides.
Oh, and that's where we're going to put a cork in it, folks, because next week after we watch Civil War, we'll go back and see how the endings match up.
So how did I do for recapping?
That's pretty much what happened, yeah.
Nice. See, I'm on top of it. I read it.
You did read it.
And I didn't Wikipedia. I read it.
It's not super friendly to new readers, but it's not impossible to digest.
I think had I never seen like an Avengers movie or a Marvel movie, I would be like, what the hell is going on here? But I was entertained by it. I thought it was good. I kind of knew where it was going. It kind of does have a logical way it's laid out. The last fight, though, is pretty epic. It's a big-ass fight.
Right. And something that I'm looking forward to with this new movie is as big of a story as Civil War was, I think it's a very natural progression. Winter Soldier, kind of at its core, it's a movie that's very much about a lot of the paranoia that we have in today's, in kind of like the digital age, and that leaves a very sour taste. The idea of that lack of privacy and of oversight of any kind of, whether, things like Hydra, but any kind of large entity. And I think Civil War is going to be a lot about, it's like, well, there is that, but you also have that idea of there's hope in individuals. So I think Civil War is going to play out really, really well right now. And because you said it, Winter Soldier is very much the empire of this whole thing. And I think they're going to hopefully end with the idea.
It's going to be better than like Return of the Jedi was, though.
I think, and I'm not going to spoil the end of the Civil War book. I'm thinking in more of a story sense, it's not going to make sense for them to end the same way. I think the movie Civil War is going to need to end with a more hopeful note than the book does.
And I think, too, that it loosely follows the books, and it follows some of the stories. But the beauty of it is you can treat it as a whole new universe and a whole new story set. I think, because you always get resets in the comic book world. You always get a new generation or a new arc or a new whatever. So I think this provides for that, but I think it's going to follow some of the same basic framework.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
I say read it.
Reading recommendations for the week for Iron Man, I would recommend reading Demon in the Bottle, that deals with the kind of major Tony Stark alcoholism.
Is that one where he drunk drives?
Where he drunk drives the Iron Man suit. Yeah,
nice.
That one. Also, Iron Man Extremis, that was written in 2005 by Warren Ellis. Iron Man 3 was pretty heavily influenced by it. And I'll spoil some of it because it's fun. Instead of killing the guy on Air Force One by blowing a hole in his chest, he just blows his head off.
Wow, there you go.
It's a much better image. And then, obviously, Civil War and some of the spin-off books. I'd say probably the better ones would be the Spider-Man spin-off book or the Fantastic Four spin-off book. Tie really well into that story.
What I like about this is what's going to be interesting is there's no real villain. It's two good guys fighting for what they believe in. And I think that makes sometimes for really good storytelling. Where you're used to cheering for both these guys, they're both good guys. And I think sometimes that's really, really good storytelling and a chance for good storytelling is how do two good people, people who are inherently good,
how do they punch each other in the face? With
different views, and they both believe that they're right, how do they settle that difference?
Punching each other in the face.
I'm not advocating for violence, but that's how the superheroes are going to do it. But I'm really interested to see how that all plays out. Can't wait. In fact, we'll be sitting down at the theater to watch this 48 hours from now.
Oh my god, I'm so tired already. I'm not going to...
You're tired, dude.
It's like a 2.5 hour movie.
I got to work at 7:15. You know what time I left work today? Like 8:15 p.m.
So that's like my everyday.
But I was up. I ran a track meet today. I didn't run in it, but I helped run a track meet. Actually, I ran with the help of parents and
My
kids
work
and
day
stuff.
is 8 to 7, like 4 days out of the week.
Yeah, you're right. And I get, summers off as a teacher, so.
Mm-hmm.
This is a long day. I'm tired, but I'm going to be jacked up and ready to go for 48 hours from when we record this, but.
Yep. So next week's podcast is going to be all Civil War, except for the book, which we've covered. So we'll talk about the movie, and then we'll get into the end of the Civil War comic, see how it all lines up.
Hey, where can we find you on the internets?
I always forget to plug. Find me at editorsnotecomics.com, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all those things at Editors Note Comics. You can also reach me at editorsnotecomics@gmail.com and over on YouTube and iTunes.
Send us comments.
I have so many places where I am.
You are. You're a worldwide entity. Send us comments. We'll answer questions if you got those.
As long as it's not, get on Mike, Jared.
I thought I did a better job on Mike. Next week they're going to be like, he's too loud. Shut him the hell up.
You set up this whole podcast.
I did. Shockingly.
I did.
Also, find you Water Street in Hollowell.
Oh, yeah. I also have a business. I'm
You
not
have a
just
business.
on the internet.
You have a place where people can go in and physically buy comic books. Free comic book Saturday. Buy one, get one.
Half
off.
for all graphic
For
novels.
all graphic novels.
Even the pricey ones.
So come check that out.
Even the cheap ones.
Even the cheap ones. Buy one, get one half off. And all at Editors Note Comics in Hollowell.
We need to get a good sign off. We don't have one.
We need a good, yeah. Oh, and I'm at Junior Rich on Twitter.
Oh, yeah. The best sign off by default.
The pig.
No.
Can't say Excelsior. That's Stan Lee's.
No, I think that's copyright.
I think it is copywritten. And it's also the state motto of New York. Did you know that?
No, I didn't.
Oh, see, you learned something tonight.
I did.
Peace!
Oh, man.
No, not working with that.
We'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.